Hey guys, Prowl 171 here. Today we're going to be reviewing The Impossible Planet from Series 2 of Modern Doctor Who with the 10th Doctor and Rose. This was actually a Patreon request. One of my top tier patrons wanted me to talk about this one. He's a big 10th Doctor fan. So he wanted to get my thoughts on this one. I have not watched this one very long time because I was never overly keen on it. I didn't hate it, but it was just kind of to me. And I probably haven't watched it since around 2007, 2008, 2009, somewhere in the late 2000s, because I never got into it. But I have to say I enjoyed my rewatch of part 1 here, because this is a review of just the first part, The Impossible Planet. This is very much a horror story, and Doctor Who is very good at doing horror. The best season the show's ever produced is very much a horror season, with the classic season 13. And this episode has a lot of things I like about it, looking at it with fresh eyes. Maybe it's just because I'm older and I look at things in a more mature manner now. I love the set design, the industrial look of this base, especially the use of the color yellow, because to me, I've always thought of yellow as a very industrial color, like construction vehicles and everything, Tonka toys. Yellow means that shade of yellow with that lived-in look just screams, industrial, blue collar, etc. This spaceship looks like that. This base, rather, I should say. This base has this very not fresh out of the factory look to it. This very lived-in, been around look to it. Kind of like the Nostromo from Alien. It's not meant to be fresh off the line, sleek ship. It's very much this ship that's been going a long time. It has this very blue-collar, claustrophobic feel to it. And I think this space station's like that. You can tell it has this kind of submarine feel to it in a way, with the hatches, the way the doors open. I really like that set design. It really could have been anything, like even the Doctor says when they first get there. Moon base, seabed base, you don't know. It really could have fit anywhere. So I really like the set design. I also have to say the incidental music from Murray Gold is really good in this one. I really like it. The music fits the tone of the scenes really well and helps heighten the scenes and make them even better. I really like the soft music playing when the Doctor and Rose are kind of having the moment when they're talking about, he's like, I'll have to get a house. Can you imagine me with a house? Oh, that's truly terrifying. I love that scene in general, when they're having kind of a very human moment, because the 10th Doctor is a very humanish Doctor, when he's talking about, and it's true too, that's got to be terrifying for him, settling down, a house, a mortgage. It's a serious moment while also being a humorous moment, and I love how Rose is just kind of laughing about it. That whole scene is really nice, but the music helps accentuate that scene, and it does it all throughout this story, where the music is helping set the tone of the scene. This episode does a lot of building the tension, building the atmosphere, the little hints here and there that something's going wrong, the demon head showing up in the background, early in the episode hearing the voice calling Toby's name. My cough is bad today. Slowly building the tension of the episode very, very well as more and more slowly goes wrong. Obviously, something is up with the Ood when the Ood says to Rose in the cafeteria about the beasts will rise and challenge God. That's little things, knowing that not only is something wrong, something's really wrong. Even right at the beginning when they land, the Doctor's like, even the TARDIS didn't want to land here. And usually the TARDIS will take him where he needs to go. So even the TARDIS is like, yeah, let's go somewhere else. Barcelona looks good this time of year. And of course, them being them, I like that little laugh. We should just get back in and leave, and they just laugh and walk in. It does a good job of separating them from the TARDIS so they can't leave by having it fall away. Tennant is, of course, really good in this. Tennant plays the very humanish Doctor very well. There's a reason why Tennant was my solid number 2 for a long time. For about 12 or 13 years, he was my number 2 Doctor. For a long time, for good reason. He's so good at playing his type of Doctor. And I love that scene when he's hugging Rose and the camera's kind of up here looking down on them. And while he's giving Rose a hug, that look on his face, though, is one of worry and concern. Not like worry, but more like he's thinking. He's running everything through his head, but he's still worried. Tennant is one of those actors who can say so much with just his facial expression. You can tell by the look on his face, the emotions that are running through him, the thoughts that are going through his head. He's very good at acting with just his facial expression. So I really like that look on his face during that scene. It's really, really good. The guest cast, I think, are doing a good job. The guy who plays, isn't that his name, Toby? The guy who gets possessed is really good because after he's possessed the first time, he's kind of checking his hands and stuff. That kind of scared cat look, that he does that really well. This guy's like, what the heck is happening to me? Just scared, crapless, basically. He pulls that off really well. And the actual scene when he gets possessed is really well done. How he hears the voice behind him, basically saying, don't look, as it's slowly getting closer. And probably if he did look, it might not have grabbed him because it probably wasn't anything standing there. It was just having to trick him to keep from looking so it could reach out and get him. Because it getting closer, I think, right when he did turn around, it was too late. It had caught up and grabbed him, basically, and gotten into him. That's a really good scene. A lot of tension. And part of that is down to the Beast's voice. And I like the character of the Beast because it's not, we find out later it's basically could be where we get our legend of the devil from, basically. Where we get our legend of the devil, because it looks like the devil. Which isn't the first time Doctor Who's done this. All the way back in season 13, which I mentioned earlier, the Pyramids of Mars, when the Doctor fights Sutekh. Sutekh alludes to that the legend of the devil may have come from him. And that's interesting because I've always liked Pyramids of Mars. I think it's one of my favorite Doctor Who stories, even though I haven't seen it in forever. And Sutekh is one of the best Doctor Who villains. He's just creepy. One of the things I love most about Sutekh is his voice. He's voiced by a guy named Gabriel Wolf. And Gabriel takes a very quiet approach to Sutekh. He talks in a whisper, unlike, say, Steven does with Omega and the other characters he plays, where he's very loud and bombastic. Gabriel voiced Sutekh with that whisper, which is even scary in a way, that he can talk in such a low whisper and still be as dangerous and deadly and imitating as he is as Sutekh. And the reason I get off on a tangent on that is it's interesting to see these two different sources that could both be where our legends of the devil came from. And the thing that really gets me, and I love when Doctor Who does this, is that this isn't lost on the people who made this episode either, as the Beast is voiced by Gabriel Wolf, the same person who voiced Sutekh. I love when Doctor Who sneaks classic Doctor Who actors into modern Doctor Who, even when it's voice work. So we have the same person, so the person who could have been the devil in the classic series, the actor who portrayed him is also portraying the person who could be the devil in this series. And I love that. I love having Gabriel Wolf back. And he voices Sutekh, he voices the Beast a little differently with a deeper voice. One, it's been 30 years. But the voice he uses for the Beast is phenomenal. That scene when he's talking, don't look around, don't turn around, don't look, I'm right behind you. It's so cool. That's such a good scene. And then when Toby turns around, there's nothing there. But then he notices the designs have disappeared from the pottery. And when he checks his hands, they're fine on the back. But then when he flips them over, they've appeared, the scribblings have appeared on his hands. That's a good moment. I've heard somebody, I can't remember, it might have even been Russell T. Davis one time. Somebody said or wrote something about it one time. They compared it to the scene in the Ark in Space when Noah pulls the hand out of his pocket. You classic Who fans will know what I'm talking about. I think it was the cliffhanger from episode 2 of the Ark in Space. Great cliffhanger. And I love that scene in the Ark in Space. And I agree, this is a lot like that moment when he turns his hands and he flips them around and the writing has appeared from the pottery on his hands. And then when he holds up the mirror, it's on his face with the red eyes. And then he just kind of passes out on the floor. Fantastic moment. Excellent scene. Creepy, scary. The whole scene is just phenomenally done. And then just everything going on with the beast, with it being able to control the ood. The cliffhanger is good. I like how there's... everybody's kind of separated. There was one point when the ood started going mad. I'm like, shoot them, shoot them, shoot them, shoot them, shoot. Why is nobody shooting them? They have guns. Shoot them. I mean, the first guy didn't because he probably didn't realize they could kill you with their little talky ball things. That's a technical term, talky ball things. But then the other guy, the older guy, the one kind of in charge of security, should have shot them. But I can't remember if he's afraid to fire his gun because something happened to him. It's been so long since I watched it. It may be a personal trauma keeping him from shooting. I can't remember. The beast did allude to something with his wife. I forget. But he's not shooting. And I'm sitting over here like I'm Muldoon or something. Shoot her! Shoot her! Shoot them! Good cliffhanger. Some of the effects do look dated. Like, anytime when it shows the effects of the space station, I'm like, that's some not so good looking CGI. But, I mean, I can tolerate Classic Who, so I can tolerate that. I mean, we're talking 2006 CGI for a TV show. It's fine. And the actual effect of the black hole looks really good. I felt bad for the one girl when she died. I saw that coming. Again, I hadn't watched this in forever. I saw that coming. Once I saw the window open and the glass cracking, I said, oh, girl, you boned. So I was like, yeah, that's not going to end well for you. But I'm enjoying the guest cast. They've all done a really good job. I've liked all of them. I feel for the captain right there at the end when he's out of communication with everybody. Somebody respond. I'm like, exactly. That would be frustrating to be in charge and not be able to get a hold of anybody. But I think the main thing I like about the episode is the building. The slow build of everything as it slowly escalates. I really enjoy that about part one. It's a really good episode. I like when Doctor Who does horror, and I like it a lot more than I remember. Now, that could be because part two is not going to live up to part one. I can't remember. Modern Who has a very bad habit of part two not living up to part one. It does. In almost every occasion, not every, but most, where part two doesn't quite live up to part one. But part one, just going by part one, I did like it. So I'm actually glad that the Fifth Doctor wanted me to rewatch it again, because again, I haven't watched this in a long time, and I definitely appreciate it a lot more. The music really does help it pop, and I love the set design, and all of the actors are doing a good job, and it's a good script. So that is my thoughts on The Impossible Planet. What do you think of this one? Let me know. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out, helps me beat the YouTube algorithm. I am trying to hit 800 subscribers at the moment. I would like to hit 1,000, but 800 is the goal right now. So spread the word to any of your friends who may be Doctor Who fans. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me that way. There's a link to that down in the description below as well. Anyone that joins at any tier level gets a free video request, which is what this actually was, a video request. I also want to thank two of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane and the Fifth Doctor. I appreciate their continued support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I have a P.O. box as well down in the description if there's anything you would like to send me, as well as a link to my Amazon wish list, which I update regularly. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.